They do non-positional now.
For half the decade, it's been positional. Though. They didn't change it until after 2023. That's why I asked.
What you think we should do?
It's up to you. You're the host. I'm just this decade. They didn't change.
What do you think we should do?
They changed it. They changed it when someone made All NBA second team. It's just interesting.
No, actually, that's not what happened.
What happened, Swiper?
So Mars is really good at this.
Hold on, who's someone?
Yeah, so Mars is really good at this.
Can we get clarity on someone before you go on this, Swiper?
Someone was making All NBA second team.
Do you want the troll?
Do you want the troll? For 1 year, and all of a sudden there was a change.
So remember Mars is the no narrative person. Do you want the Mars version? Or do you want the real version?
Can we get the real version, please, Swiper? Can we do that?
So what happened was that there had been there is a Mars version because Mars is constantly pushing narrative, even though the chat gawkers think he's just always on truth. So the issue is that Mars is correct. It did change after the season in 22-23, but there had already been discussions behind the closed doors about altering the All NBA team, in part because of the money issue. Players are being left off All NBA because there wasn't enough positions to be allowed. So Mars remembers correctly. There was 3 centers that were allowed. There were 2 forwards that were allowed, and then 6 forwards that were allowed, and then 6 guards. So they changed the formatting to say who are the 15 best players. That way we could have a better odds of rewarding who is most deserving over the course of the year. And that actually started happening during the years that Embiid was finishing second team All NBA, despite the fact he was finishing second in the MVP voting. That's when it happened. So I know this because I've talked directly to these people. So Mars is just chatting again.
So Mars,
it went into effect. It went into
what
effect.
He said it was leading up to this.
It went into effect
after this happened. It changed. Like I said,
in 2024, and that was the first season that it happened. And again, in the year before, that was the crux point, like where it was. Embiid in 2021-22 made second team, despite the fact that he was really good that season and should have been first team All NBA, I'd argue. And then in 2022-23, Jokic's best season, the season that Mars also believes he should have won MVP. He finished second in MVP voting, and he finished second team All NBA, which I actually thought was like a funny story because him going to the playoffs, having his best year was all part of it. Yep. Next year they rectify it, and then they put the 5 best players on the team, but then they put the game implementation in. So we still haven't had the 5 best players that have made the All NBA teams every year because of the injury issues that people have had and the amount of games played. So all this was in discussion for years leading up to this point, just to give people some inside information on exactly how all this stuff happened. It was mostly about the money and the fact that writers
which is fair, Mars,
hated the fact.
Because what you're making it sound like, Mars, what you're making it sound like is the fact that Joker made second team All NBA in 2023. That was the reason why this whole thing changed. Even though there were things,
which is what you implied. No,
that's what you're making it sound like, Mars.
Don't let him run. Don't let him run.
He made second team, and then it changed.
Okay, but However, there were circumstances that was leading up to that. Just like there was
no change happens in one offseason, obviously.
Right, and even if that's
change got implemented after he made second.
100. Okay, so. But that's what you implied, though, Mars. You implied that Joker made second team All NBA.
Objectively, you did.
Joker made second team All NBA. That's why that's why we're moving to positionless basketball.
It was convenient.
That's not what happened.
It was very convenient timing.
Just like Swiper, we were leading up to NWA breaking up. That was happening. NWA was breaking up. When Ice Cube dropped No Vaseline, they broke up. That wasn't the reason why they broke up. They were breaking up anyway. But if I say the reason why they broke up was because Ice Cube dropped No Vaseline. No, that's not what happened.
Do you remember Destiny Child's last album they put out, Ron? Chill. It was great. It was. Remember, Cater to You was a great song. I don't know if you remember that album. The Cater to You album was like their last album.
Sure.
And then Beyonce went solo, and we all knew. It's like, it was all built. It was always leading up to this.
Going solo anyway. That was happening.
It's Beyonce. It's Beyonce.
Hold up, though, Swiper. What's the correlation though?
Because what happens is that sometimes there's a better way of doing things, and despite the fact that Williams and everybody else was really good, and even Kelly Rowland, Motivation's a great song. I still listen to Motivation. Chill. That's a great song. It's a wonderful song. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to hold Beyonce back. I'm not going to hold the best 5 players, the best 15 players in the NBA back, because these stupid rules we got in place of like having this amount of centers, this amount of All NBA spots for guards. It just doesn't make any sense. There's a better way for us to do this. And so we move forward. It's like if we can only have a panelist of the year based on who shows up every single day. It's like, but that doesn't make any sense. Some people can't show up every day. Should Real Talk or me or somebody else be disqualified? Maybe. But that's why you got the MVP award. The MVP award is who shows up the most. Rod won that one. And then the panelist of the year award is for who does the best job. That's just how those awards are weighed. There's a better way to do.
What about
it's obviously so much politics.
What about Yapper of the Year?
Like an offensive player.
There's multiple people that should have won that, and we have already determined that Penn won 2026. I believe is how that works, or 25, however that works.
I think that the positionless All NBA team is corny. I don't like it.
Hey, I'll your mic.
I just fixed it.
No, you good, Ox. I can hear you. I can hear you just fine. Ron need to turn up his hearing aid. That's the problem. Ron, turn up your miracle ear. I can hear him just fine.
Yo, disabled joke. How you know about miracle literature? You ain't got hearing aids.
Turn up your miracle ear.
You know how old he is?
That's a real place. No, that's a real place. It's a great place.
But for real,
I'm just family. Just like
but Mars, casual, Swiper, y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. I think that the positionless All NBA teams, I think it's corny. Personally, I think that you should have to beat out your position. I don't care if you're the second best player in the NBA, but you're the second best NBA player, but you're the third best. Wait. Hold on.
No, you on the right. You on the right track.
You're on the right track. If you're the second best center in the NBA, but you're also the second best player in the NBA, then you're second team center. You know what I'm saying?
So do you think it should be more strict? Do you think it should be point guard, shooting guard, or are you fine with two guards?
I think I could see two guards, two wings in the center or something like that. Or
sounds a bit unfair for the centers then.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, they have half as many spots. That's like very unfair.
That's okay. I think there should only be one center.
Why is it unfair, Mars? I mean, it's
because the centers only have 3 spots for all NBA teams.
Sure.
But guards are going to have 6. That's unfair.
Okay, so
just make it 3 point guards, 3 shooting guards, 3 small forwards, 3 power forwards, 3 centers. So then the centers aren't just being disrespected. Oh, I'm the 4th best center. I can't make it, but the 6th best guard can make it. That's unfair.
Well, I mean, typically coming up, there's more guards on the floor than there is centers.
But there's only 1 point guard on the floor,
right?
Well, okay. So I mean, so if you do 1 point guard,
exactly. So make 1 point guard, 1 shooting guard, 1 small forward, 1 power forward.
But the difference with that, Mars, is that there is a time when a point guard makes it and a 2 guard makes it. It's not just 2.
Yeah, but it should have to be that way. It should be a mandatory. If Shea is the point guard, that means Anthony Edwards has to be the shooting guard. You can't have Shea and Luka. That's unfair to the centers.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. That's it.
Okay, I can get with that. I've always felt like with the positions, but Ron, we kind of got thrown off the track for a second and I want to get back to what Ox was talking about. Mars, you implied that Joker, the reason why this thing got changed was because Joker made second team All Pro.
Very convenient timing, yes.
Which that wasn't the case. I mean, the reason why it was leading up to that, to Swiper's point.
Okay, so I'll ask it. I agree. It was leading up to. We had the discussions on the panel before they changed it. Sure. Should it be positioned as I was team? Yes. Any change that happens has a lead up to it. I just think it's very convenient that the change happens after someone missed out on All NBA first team. Same way I think it's convenient how the MVP narrative manages to change quite often when someone else is not winning it.
Please.
But that's neither here nor there. When the creators of Box Plus Minus changed the formula after Russell Westbrook became the all-time leader in Box Plus Minus, did they change it because of Russell Westbrook, or was that just a coincidence?
Yeah, they changed it because rebounding was overinflated in the value.
Okay. Now
get him. Now get his ass.
Now there's someone.
A flame to his ass. No. You hush.
There's someone.
Wait.
That's crazy. See, Ron. If you want to leading in Plus Minus every year,
I would love the all-time records, and the formula has not changed.
Right.
Even though we've acknowledged the flaws, Swipe himself has acknowledged the flaws, especially when it comes to the defensive side of the equation, where someone has 3 of the top 5 defensive Box Plus Minus seasons ever. Someone.
We've now moved the conversation.
Has not changed.
Just so you know.
When Russell Westbrook broke the formula, when he was all-time number 1, he was above the best LeBron season, the best Michael Jordan season. They was like, we gotta change the formula. That's not right. When someone has 3 of the 5 best defensive Box Plus Minus seasons ever, when someone has 5 of like the 7 best Box Plus Minus seasons ever, including the best Box Plus Minus season ever, the formula has not changed. Why is that?
So to be clear,
that boy good. Before you go, that boy good.
Again, exactly. We've moved the conversation because Mars was wrong in his initial assertion that he made, and so we moved it to another
initial assertion that to
moving to
all NBA teams changed after someone made
you asserted as we already as
you already got someone made second team all NBA.
No, Mars. This is what Mars does. Mars will talk through what I'm saying because he knows he's wrong. He's talking through exactly what I'm saying because he knows we already caught you. You asserted that the reason they made the rule change was because of Jokic for the All-NBA team.
I didn't assert.
So Mars, again, I want to be clear about this.
So make it clear. I implied it.
So the next episode that we do, Chill, when Mars says, when he's in this series bag and said, I don't like talking narratives. I don't like debating narratives. When he brings that up again,
you're the one debating with me.
We started this show off when Ron said a very good, I think very cordial topic. Who makes the All-NBA team for the decade?
And I asked if it was positionless.
And then which Mars switched it from that to let's talk about the fact that it's very convenient. They switched up the All-NBA criteria.
That's not how
somebody else missed on first
That's
team.
That's not how this happens.
So now I want you to also see this. I want you to see the play that Mars is running. So because he got cooked on the first thing where he did assert, and he said he asserted that's what assertion and implication. You can use the word in the same thing. Terrible. So don't change my word. Maybe that's just the British way of saying it. What I'm saying is that on the other end of this, he then ran the pitch throwback QB fly box plus minus. So let's leave one narrative conversation to another narrative conversation, both of which created by Mars, mind you. Both of which created by Mars, instead of just simply talking about the subject at hand. And so when we do this in the future and we're arguing the 89th best player in the world, okay, we're having basketball discussions, and Mars said, can we just stick to the topic? I want y'all to remember this. The first 15 minutes of the show was wasted because Mars did not want to stick to the topic. So this is what I'm saying. Y'all let him do this because y'all like him.
That's not how
I understand. This is what happens when you love a woman and she treats you like trash. You let Mars treat you like garbage, and you do it because you like him. You ain't got to be here. You don't have to stay in this relationship, though. Mars is doing that. He's great, man. I mean, Mars is really good at what this is no swipe to Mars being good at what he does. Like the show he has, obviously doing the stuff he did is After Buzzer is really good. The list and stuff is really good. The top 10 list coming out this week, it's going to be fireworks. I know it is. It's great. It's great content. But Mars, as somebody who constantly wants to stick to the topic, this is disgusting by you. Disgusting. Could you move to the box plus minus? We've already said we don't the status flaw. The only person on PC that uses it is who? Penn. The person's not even here. I haven't even heard from Penn today. It's like we don't even need to go here. I agree with you, Mars. It's flawed. EPM's flawed too. It's very weighed by the
change that formula after someone's in the leads in it for one season.
Right. Sure. Just
want to make that clear as well. That formula also changed.
They actually did.
Which, by the way, Mars,
they actually did. They started going to expected EPM. But no. Chill, you can go right after this. I want to make sure we understand how we got here. Let's go. Ron said all NBA teams, blah, blah, blah. Chill said Jokic is a no-brainer, Giannis is a no-brainer. He then said AD, I don't know. He had a couple years injured, blah, blah, blah. I then asked the very fair question, is it positionless? Mm-hmm. Ron said, no, is it positional? Ron said, no, because the current all-NBA teams aren't positional. I said, for half of the decade, the 2020s, they have been positional. They only recently changed it after someone made all-NBA second team. Implying that Jokic not making first team was a driver of why the change happened, which I still wholeheartedly believe.
The driver.
A driver. I never said.
Well, no, I mean, but the way you implied it was
because like I said, we were having the conversation before the change got implemented, and I was team make it positionless. But a driver, in my opinion, is someone who had the season that Jokic had in 23, not making first team All NBA, was seen as incorrect. So they said, we probably should make this change now because guys like Jokic making second team All NBA is wrong. So after he made second team All NBA, I definitely think that was, if you want to call it the final, the straw that broke the camel's back. That was the last nail in the coffin that cemented they probably should make this change. That's what I meant. That's what I implied. The change happened after Jokic made All NBA second.
Mars, again, you implied.
I implied he was a part of the reason.
Motivation in why it happened.
You interpreted that.
That's no. Chill.
I'll even own that.
Am I wrong as a process?
It's
not exactly what it sounded like.
It sounded like the reason why.
No, first of all, again, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about.
All NBA. But even then, I will say, sure, I agree. That's what I said. Cool. Moving on. You then decided to explain how we got to that point. Oh, well, we've been discussing it for years. I spoke to people, blah, 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 blah. Sure. Something that A, I've never denied in previous conversations about this topic, and B, never brought up in this topic.
But no, we're not bringing that previous conversation. We're bringing up this conversation. This conversation I was alluding
to. Your whole spiel was about previous conversations.
I was informing the audience of what the actual change was after you inserted a piece of the conversation.
What I'm asking,
do you think Jokic making second team All NBA had nothing to do with that change?
Well, I don't know. I think it did.
That's what I said, do you think? Not do you know?
Sure.
Do you think?
I think it did, but I also think that conversation got real heavy, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I'm not wrong, but you can stand with this if you don't want to. In 2021, when Embiid finished second team, and then
finished second team for 2 straight years. Yes.
Right. And then so it was like this isn't working. But then it really also started, remember, in 2019-20. Because remember, that's when AD played 23% of his minutes at center that year. They moved him to center on the All-NBA teams. And then that's when Jokic was second team All-NBA that year as well. So they said, well, we need more spots in order to actually account for who actually should make these spots.
Yeah, so there was a lead up to it.
So all of this was like a 5-6 year lead up that led to this point, primarily driven.
And the final
as a primary driver, what happened is when the owners tied in the super max extensions to all NBAs, that was the final straw that broke the camel's back.
And you think Jokic had was a part of the same?
Well, no, because he was already going to get his money anyway.
Well,
not the Supermax formula. You think similar to how Embiid, AD were parts of what led to the
players? Yeah, I think they wanted to reward the players.
Okay, so we agree on that.
But the primary job is always money. It's always money.
Yeah, of course. I implied that the change happening after Jokic was coincidental. No, I didn't.
No, you didn't say coincidental. No. You again. He got a word wrong. He got the whole thing wrong. You didn't. It wasn't a coincidence. You didn't say coincidence at all.
I've actually said that many times.
Yeah, I was saying, Ross. I'm trying to save this man. Coincidence and a coincidence. Coincidence and no, using the word. No. There's no using it. Saying coincidence and then saying what he said for the first 18 minutes of the show are two different things. Y'all gotta stop. Stop glazing Mars in the chat. He's wrong. That's
coincidental. When I said coincidental, it was coincidental. Okay, it's coincidental that it changed after Jokic.
Okay, so Mars.
That's what I meant.
Mars, to your point, right? To your point, when you just talked about maybe it might be a bad thing that Joker is second team All Pro, even though he finished second in league MVP.
Very bad thing,
yes, right? Maybe that's a bad thing, but they ended up changing it. Was it because of that, or to?
It was a part of it. In my humble opinion.
Here's why I'm asking it. The reason why I'm
asking it was coincidental. I'm good with that, Mark.
Coincidental.
If you use that word the first time, we wouldn't argue. Go ahead, Joe.
Coincidental.
The reason why I'm asking that is because to Swiper's point,
what up, Jordan?
When you tie, I was in the middle of something. I seen Drenchy walk in. I didn't have a chance to address Drenchy in a minute. I'll get to Drenchy in a minute. But anyway, to Swiper's point, when you tie in the money, that changes everything, Mars. And the reason why I feel like that changes everything, because off the strength of in 1989, Hakeem Olajuwon finishes second in Defensive Player of the Year. He doesn't make the All-League defensive team. They don't change it to being positionless. But I bet you if being on the All-League defensive team has something to do with making more money in your contract, I'm willing to bet that would have happened in terms of those and in terms of that getting changed. But because it didn't happen. The point is you're bringing up like Russell Westbrook with box plus minus, which is
coincidentally it changed.
Which is a pretty interesting conversation because Marsh, you're one of these people who talks about basketball players. Well, it's interesting that they changed this because they what did you say the three? I think you said the 3 best defensive box plus minus seasons.
3 of the 5. 3 of the 5.
Which is Russell Westbrook? Is that correct?
Yeah,
no. Well, defensive is Jokic.
Yeah,
box plus minus
it overinflates for defensive rebounding.
Right, and when you see that, to your point, Mars, and to your point, Mars,
coincidental.
Coincidentally, yeah, coincidental.
Right, and Mars, to your point,
that's actually a good word there. I think
you are a basketball player guy, right? So with being a basketball player guy, you look at Russell Westbrook and go, he ain't better at basketball than Michael Jordan. He's not better at basketball than LeBron James. But these advanced analytics say he is. Wait a minute, we have to change this. This isn't correct.
Which they should also do for someone else, but coincidentally,
or maybe he's just that good, Mars.
That's what I'm thinking, Viper.
Yeah, no.
Why not?
That's what I'm thinking.
Why not?
Because he's not. Because he's not. My point is, no, we all know he's not. But another thing that coincidentally changed was after a certain someone didn't win Defensive Player of the Year, and the guy who didn't make all defensive team, didn't make all defensive first team. Correct. Coincidentally, the all defensive voting changed starting the next season.
13-14.
Coincidentally. Is that like all I'm saying is coincidentally, these things happen to change when a big name gets snubbed from the thing that other people have been snubbed from many times before. But LeBron James didn't win Defensive Player of the Year, but made all NBA defensive first team, and Marc Gasol won Defensive Player of the Year, but didn't make all defensive first team. Coincidentally, the coaches were no longer voting for defensive first team. Coincidentally.
But Mars, that actually had a legitimate reason in changing and modifying based on one player, though. Like that was an actual glaring issue based on one player.
It might have been.
But I know. But Mars, I'm saying,
you imagine LeBron being DPO like DPOY? That's crazy.
That's all I'm saying. It's just coincidental that these big changes
I'm saying,
after a big name.
This was the All NBA stuff is an infrastructural change to a pay scale based on the CBA. Like there was no money allocation that was made differently because LeBron James didn't win DPOY or make first team All NBA that year, or Marc Gasol, then DPO first team All NBA and all. There's no implication to the money stuff there. This one said you don't make these teams, you're making $75 million less. And remember, writers that were on ESPN, like Brian Windhorst said,
I remember Rudy Gobert cried about something like that.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that me not voting for someone means you missed out on $80 million. I should not have that much responsibility. So to fix it, the NBA said, okay, well then whoever you think is the best players, then you put them on the list. Now to Ox's point, that might be, you might be unfair to certain players, or you should probably just do position. I'm cool, like whatever. I think the real issue is that the owner said, well, we don't want to pay these players if we don't have to. So how do we make it work till you can pay these players, but it's not up to you to pay it. You got to earn it per se. Well, just give it to the writers. So now these writers making $45,000 a year at the local market are determining who makes $320 million or somebody who makes $210 million.
Damn, but why does $45,000 a year? Why does that matter?
Because that's local writers are severely underpaid. I've been saying this for a long time. It's more so.
I know, but I don't think you should have brought that up.
It's not good enough.
Taking nice little 45,000. Point is, it takes big players for these changes to happen. I believe if a big name like a Jokic or Embiid didn't keep getting snubbed from the All NBA first team, the change of positionless All NBA teams would have taken longer to happen, despite all of the things you're pointing out. I'm willing to bet, and there's no way for me to prove this. I'm willing to bet if we have a year where Giannis plays 63 games and Jokic plays 61 games and Luka plays 64 games, and therefore none of them are able to win the MVP, they will lower the game requirement for the MVP award. They'll lower it because someone who's not deserving will win the MVP award, and I think maybe we should lower it to 60. Maybe we should lower it to 58. Whatever the case, what it takes is a big name being snubbed from something for that to be the final thing that leads to a change that has been considered to finally happen. That's how it goes in NBA history.
That's a fact. Are we trying to deny
what I'm saying? Like, they were talking about changing all NBA teams before Jokic.
Are y'all really?
They were talking about changing it before Jokic, but that doesn't mean that Jokic wasn't a big driver for the change. If Jokic is making all NBA, if Jokic and Embiid didn't peak at the same time, we'd probably still have positionless all NBA.
No, we wouldn't.
Probably would.
No, I'm saying we wouldn't. No, but Mark, I'm saying we wouldn't
for that to change.
No, Mark, I think the reason why I'm saying you're too heavily relying on that is because we would have had to change because the CBA had never been intermixed to this degree with all NBA voting and the amount of money.
I'm saying they would have had to wait till the next CBA for that.
I'm saying I'm willing to make a very large bet it was going to change because the writers no longer wanted to have that responsibility.
I agree it would have changed. I just said that.
I know, but I'm saying it would have happened regardless.
It would have taken a bit long. I'm saying it wouldn't have happened that year because a big name wasn't snubbed. If Jokic and Embiid didn't peak at the same time, and let's say it was Joel Embiid, the best center in the league, Rudy Gobert and Andre Drummond, they wouldn't have worried about changing the All NBA formula because no big name is being snubbed from first team. Because we had two titans at the same time, the same position, that sped up the process. That's
what I'm.
That's what.
Yes.
Embiid and Jokic, 2 regular season titans battling for all NBA teams.
Shout out to the Tennessee
Because they were, that's what led to this happening at the speed in which it did. If it wasn't, I think it would have had to wait till the next CBA, which means it still probably would have happened because people were coming to that conclusion and money was being lost, blah, blah, blah. But they definitely wouldn't have expedited.
Mars, this second half of your argument, you've been cooking. I agree with you. Your first half was dog pile water.
Coincidental.
That's all I'm
changed
saying.
After Jokic.
That's all I'm saying. I'm with you.
It's coincidental. It just so happened to change after Jokic.
Hold up right quick, chill. Just hold that.
Coincidentally is a good word.
Yeah, coincidentally, it just so happened, I guess.
We haven't heard from my man Casual. We are 27 minutes into this show, and it has been a good conversation so far. Casual, I want to know your thoughts on everything leading up to this point, whether you believe that there's narratives being pushed, whether you believe they should have changed earlier, or whether you don't even like it being positionless. Talk to me, my man. How you feel?
We should just do positionless. 27 minutes for this. I'm ready for the list. I don't know about anyone else.
Me
I'm ready
too.
for the list.
Yeah,
but if I were to say,
me too. Peak yapping.
My bad, guys. My bad.
No, I don't think this is happening. I think this is a really good conversation because Mars brought up a really interesting point about big names. And this isn't the first time, for example, Mars, when you said about in 2013, when LeBron James did not win Defensive Player of the Year, but he was first team All-Pro, but he was a first team All-League defender. Meanwhile, Marc Gasol wasn't, right? And that's why they changed it. I'd like to think Ox, I mean, how many bigger names in the game in 1995 were there than Scottie Pippen? How many bigger names in your estimation?
In 95, maybe 4 or 5.
Okay, so at minimum, he's top 5. Is that fair?
I would say so, yeah.
Just so you know, Mars, in 1995, Dikembe Mutombo was the Defensive Player of the Year that year.
Mm-hmm.
Scottie Pippen was first team All Defense. Mutombo was not, and Scottie Pippen finished second. Scottie Pippen finished second in Defensive Player of the Year. They didn't change the format, and the reason why they didn't change the format is because of, back to Swiper's point, because of the bread. That wasn't the implication. If we now have positionless, even though to your point, it should be the 5. It could very well be the 5 best players. But if there was more money on the line at that point, I don't think it has anything to do with names. But if there was more money on the line, if there was guys who, if Scottie Pippen winning the Defensive Player of the Year, if that would have affected his contract, if Scottie Pippen or Dikembe Mutombo being first team All-Pro, who, by the way, at that point was arguably a top 3 defensive center in the game, it's a pretty big name. If that affected his contract, where if he ended up making first team All Defense, and that's an extra $20 million on his contract or extra $10 million on his contract, they may very well have changed it. I don't think the name recognition has as much to do with it more than, to Swiper's point, as the money.
Well, I think that's both of those can be true, Chill. On top of that, I mean, Scottie Pippen has had a career of just being snubbed anyway. You know what I'm saying? So Scottie Pippen's not LeBron James, and he's never had the cachet or whatever, you know what I'm saying, of LeBron James. He's never been on that level of superstardom ever. Right. You know what I mean? Or Jokic. You know what I'm saying? So I hear what you're saying, but I think it's a little different. On top of that, that's a good point about the money. The money is way different now too. But I don't know. I don't really have a problem with who does the voting. I just do have a problem with implications of the money though. I think when it's like that with, if you get this many All NBA teams or DPOY or this or that, then you're eligible for a Supermax. I just don't like that at all. I think the who's eligible for a Supermax should be completely and totally up to the organization. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that if you get this team or that team because it's other people voting on that. There's no specific criteria. You know what I'm saying, that allows that to happen. And so for those reasons, I think that needs to be taken completely out of their hands. But for today, y'all, can we just do it how they do it in the NBA and just positionless and just?
No, we definitely do a positionless. Multi-Kenny in the chat, he's a Hall of Famer, which means he has priority and he has say-so in what we do. And he said we're doing positionless. So Multi-Kenny, we doing positionless. But Ox, right quick though, because I've had conversations with some of the youth that I work with, some of the youth that I train and coach and stuff like that. And I want to get it through their heads that production equals pay. If you don't produce, you won't get paid. And so I've used these all NBA examples and how the NBA has switched it up to basically mean that if you don't show up and you're not consistent, and if you're not consistent, but if you're not constantly producing while you're showing up, you won't be qualified to get the ultimate max pay. And so I'm saying that to say, the criteria might be fucked up, in terms of how they get to that All NBA and how they get these accolades. But I believe these accolades should be an indicator of who gets paid the most. The MVP should qualify to get paid more than somebody else who maybe is an All-NBA player, but you're not an MVP. The DPOY should be qualified to get paid more than somebody who was first team, but you're not the DPOY. I believe that the higher you climb up these rankings or these accolades or whatever the case may be, you should be eligible to get paid more based on the production you put in. And here's the thing.
Any job, bro. That's any job.
Exactly, chill. Even like if you win a championship, I know they get bonuses and whatnot, but that should even be something that can boost guys' pay into a different tier.
They do that in the EuroLeague. They do that in the EuroLeague.
Once again, production equals payout in any field. Y'all could be mad at me, y'all could not like what I'm saying, but in any field,
that's true. That's true, Ron. That's true. Nobody can argue that, Ron. I think that's
if I was in the EuroLeague and I don't know, I played for Barcelona and we was in the Final Four, that's an extra $100,000 in my contract, something like that.
If you negotiated it like that, yeah. Like if they put incentives on it. Like I know in the Euro Cup for sure, if you qualify your team, if you win the Euro Cup and your team qualifies for the EuroLeague, they give you a lot more extra bread. I'm talking about like Ron, could be an M. It could be an M. So
I do believe that if they're gonna have money be a part of it, I don't think the media should be voting on the thing. I don't think the writers or any of them should vote on it. I think it should just be straight coaches, just coaches.
Coaches
Ron,
don't have bias, though. I mean, if we're talking about media, I mean, coaches don't have biases.
That's okay. They on the floor. They know what's going on. They know what's
going
on.
What if a coach snubs,
no matter what?
What if a coach snubs a player because he's in like bed with the owner, and the owner doesn't want to pay this guy this much money?
That's just one. That's just one vote. That's just one vote. All I'm saying is, what if we can do that all year? If we go based on who should be voting, there's always a what if. There's always a but this. There's always a but don't you remember? Or in the event that this happens, there's always going to be that. But if anybody should be voting on stuff like that, it should be coaches. Yeah, it should be coaches. That's it. It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. The player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.